Arcadia Mayor Eileen Wang on Tuesday night refusing to answer our questions about a now convicted Chinese government spy.
America, that woman that you just watched run from reporters, she's the mayor of Arcadia, California. And the convicted Chinese spy that she won't talk about, he called himself her fiancé, ran her campaigns, and just got sentenced to 4 years in federal prison for building what prosecutors are calling a basic team to serve the Chinese Communist Party.
Eileen Gu is 18 years old. She's a skier. She was born in San Francisco. She's not going to be competing for the country of her birth or her citizenship. Instead, she's going to be on China's Olympic team.
But here's the part that should terrify you. While one Eileen takes Chinese money to betray her country on camera, the other Eileen is being cultivated by Chinese intelligence to infiltrate American city halls. Same playbook, different uniform, and California is ground zero. What is up, guys? Tyson DeLaCruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Let me show you how China is running a two-track operation to compromise America and why these two Eileens are the blueprint. On February 19, 2026, a federal judge handed down 4 years to Yaoning Sun, also known aka Mike Sun. The charges acting as an illegal agent for the Chinese government without registration.
The feds say starting in 2020, Sun operated a pro-Chinese Communist Party news website for the Chinese American community. Sun was also directed by Chinese officials to boost the campaign of an unidentified Southern California politician.
Notice they don't say influence. They don't say boost the campaign. China wasn't trying to convince and elect officials to play ball. They were actually building one from scratch. That's cultivation, not recruitment.
This is Wang talking about her relationship with Sun at a council meeting from December of 2022.
To my fiancé, Director Mike Sun, who walks streets with me every single day, who is a real leader of me.
A real leader of me, not a supporter, not a volunteer. She told you the power dynamic. And now, after he's convicted of espionage, suddenly he was never her fiancé.
After Sun was charged, Wang tried to distance herself from Sun.
Number one, he's not my fiancé. Whoever wants to see he's my fiancé or former fiancé, please prove it.
The audacity here to demand proof when the city council video archives have her saying it on record.
To my fiancé, Director Mike Sun.
Federal prosecutors didn't just catch aka Mike Sun running a spy operation. They caught him explaining the operation to Chinese officials in writing.
The LA Times has reported that she is not under investigation. Tuesday's council meeting was the first since the now convicted spy Yaoning Sun, who also went by Mike Sun, was sentenced to 4 years in prison for his covert actions on behalf of the Chinese government. The feds say starting in 2020, Sun operated a pro-Chinese Communist Party news website for the Chinese American community.
Sun and Wang co-founded something called U.S. News Center. Sun and Wang. Sounds like a great pairing, doesn't it? Also, this U.S. News Center sounds innocent. Sounds like a local news outlet covering city council meetings and high school sports. Except the DOJ says it exists to push Beijing talking points disguised as community journalism. Here's how it worked. Sun created content favorable to Chinese government positions. Wang would amplify it as an elected official. The Chinese American communities gets fed propaganda that looks like it's coming from their own mayor.
The feds say that Sun also tracked the movements of the president of Taiwan when she was here back in April of 2023, giving them real-time updates about what she was doing and where she was.
We just jumped from local politics to international espionage, and Mayor Wang still won't answer questions about her relationship with Mr. Sun. In late 2023, Wang and Sun took a trip to China. 6 cities, official purposes, this is what they claimed. But here's what federal investigators uncovered. Sun told fellow Chinese agents he planned to meet with intelligence handlers during this particular trip to report his progress cultivating Wang's political rise. Think about that particular timeline. By late 2023, Wang had already won her city council seat. She was an elected official in Southern California, and her campaign manager was flying back to Beijing to give status updates on Chinese intelligence.
Martin says Wang asked her to help her make good on some campaign promises. Martin declined.
I thought it was a ladies' lunch. And I showed up and this, guy was there and I was like, who's this? I thought this was going to be a ladies' lunch.
Martin says Sun was quietly observing the lunch.
Just quietly kind of serving. He would get up and serve, and make sure you eat this.
You know why he was there?
No.
She didn't realize until he was arrested that she was being assessed, evaluated, and potentially recruited. This is how foreign intelligence operates. Obviously, they're not carrying briefcases and wearing uniforms, bags full of cash, parking garages. They sit silently at lunch meetings to determine who's useful to their operation. Now, let me introduce you to the other Eileen, the one that China parades in front of the cameras instead of hiding them in city council chambers. Eileen Gu, born in San Francisco, trained by American coaches, funded by American sports programs, developed into a world-class skier using American facilities. And in 2022, she switches teams. She now competes for China.
She's not going to be competing for the country of her birth or her citizenship. Instead, she's going to be on China's Olympic team. She has one parent who was born in China, and she switched sides despite the fact she's American.
The word that everybody is avoiding is mercenary. She sold her national identity to the highest bidder, and the bidder was China, to the tune of $23 million. Let me break down that number for you. Last year, Eileen Gu made $100,000 from actually skiing. The other $22.9 million came from Chinese brand endorsements. We're talking about Tiffany, Louis Vuitton, Bank of China. She's not an athlete who happens to have sponsors. She is a Chinese propaganda asset who occasionally skis.
For her to then turn her back on that in exchange for money is shameful. It's ungrateful, like a child that says, I'm out of here, I'm moving somewhere else, after being raised in a warm home. That's what she is, and she will soon, I suspect, Tucker, come to regret it.
And here's what makes this even more calculated. China strictly forbids dual citizenship. She can't be American and Chinese at the same time under their particular law. So Eileen Gu renounced her U.S. passport. She won't answer. She dodges questions every single time that she's asked because admitting it destroys her marketability in America, and denying it creates problems with Chinese officials. She's playing both sides of the fence for maximum profit. Good for her, whatever she wants to do. And she does this all while wearing a uniform of our biggest geopolitical rival. Now let me show you what happens when athletes choose differently.
Her dad, Arthur, watching.
That is Alyssa Liu, an American figure skater who just won Olympic gold, and the man in the crowd crying full of tears and pride, that is her father, Arthur Liu, who didn't just watch her win. He escaped the Chinese Communist Party to give her freedom to compete for the country of her particular choice. You want to know the difference between Alyssa Liu and Eileen Gu? They both had Chinese heritage. They both have world-class talent. Both could have taken Chinese money and competed for Beijing. But Alyssa Liu looked at her father, a man who risked everything to escape communism, and she chose the American flag. Let's go. She didn't sell out, not for $23 million in Chinese endorsements, not for Louis Vuitton contracts, for a country that gave her family freedom. And you know what the leftist media did? They criticized her for being too patriotic. Because throughout this entire Olympic fiasco, all we see is ungrateful athletes. They're upset that her and her father wrapped themselves in the American flag. This is what you're supposed to represent at the Olympics when you're an American. Think about that. A girl whose father fled communism celebrates American freedom. What a crazy idea. And the progressives are obviously offended. Meanwhile, Eileen Gu gets magazine covers and corporate sponsorships for literally competing against America. Chat, that tells you everything you need to know about which type of athletes our institutions want to celebrate. Think about these two Eileens. You think it's a coincidence that China is simultaneously cultivating local politicians in Arcadia and a celebrity athlete on a global stage. This is a coordinated strategy, soft power and sharp power, the celebrity track and the political track. And the choice between Eileen Gu and Alyssa Liu shows you exactly what China is buying: disloyalty.
Because there's not an American company, honestly, Tucker, there's very few American companies that wouldn't and haven't already done the same thing as Eileen Gu. Yeah. They've already turned their back on the United States of America in exchange for Chinese riches.
Gu's sponsors include Victoria's Secret, Louis Vuitton, Chinese companies using forced labor. They're not just funding her, they're funding the entire soft power operation. Every commercial that she films, every photo shoot that she does, every time that she's photographed in Chinese fashion, wearing Chinese jewelry, it's selling young Americans the idea that betraying your country for money is aspirational. Meanwhile, back in Arcadia, Mike's son is using the exact same transactional logic with Mayor Wang. He's offering her campaign resources, media platforms, and political guidance. The only difference, he wants city council votes instead of Instagram followers.
Longtime Arcadia resident and citizen journalist Sonia Martin met Sun at a luncheon before it was known he was a spy for the Chinese government. Martin says Wang asked her to help her make good on some campaign promises. Martin declined.
Sonia Martin is doing what every entire city council should be doing, demanding freaking answers. But watch what happens when the reporter asks Mayor Wang about Sun's sentence. She speed walks away, no comment, no explanation, no accountability.
I think it's important for people to understand just your reaction to this sentence.
I don't have the comments right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
And obviously, here's what the mainstream media won't tell you. Arcadia is not an isolated incident. Chinese and Vietnamese influence operations are infiltrating the entire East Bay. The pattern repeats: identify promising local candidates, provide campaign resources, build media platforms that look like community journalism, but function as actual propaganda, wait for them to win, then hit the activate button.
It's outrageous. I mean, her fiancé helped her with the campaign, got her elected, and he's literally convicted of being a foreign agent.
America, what you're witnessing is China perfecting the art of showing us who we are by choosing who we celebrate. Eileen Gu sells out for $23 million, gets magazine covers. Alyssa Liu honors her father's escape from communism and gets criticized for patriotism. Mayor Wang's spy handler goes to prison, but she keeps her office. Mike's son tracked down foreign leaders on U.S. soil, and city council doesn't even want to discuss it. This isn't about two athletes or one corrupt mayor. This is about a country that's forgotten how to value loyalty over profit. We've normalized the idea that citizenship is negotiable if the price is right. And China, they're exploiting the moral vacancy in every city with the money spent and politicians willing to be cultivated. The next Eileen Gu is being recruited right now at an American university. The next Mayor Wang is sitting in a city council meeting somewhere in California or some other state. And the next Mike's son is quietly serving lunch, taking notes, and reporting back to Beijing about which Americans are for sale. The difference between Gu and Liu isn't talent or heritage. It's character. One chose money, the other chose the country that gave her father freedom. And our institutions are celebrating the wrong one. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.